Royal Rumble recap plus Monday Night Raw. All right. So, what we aspired to do with this show is twofold. Number one, yes, to do wrestling commentary, and yes, to take it seriously and to give our opinions on pro wrestling and stuff like that, which I feel like we're doing a good job of. I think people are enjoying that aspect of it. Okay. But the other half is that we're trying to get me out there into the world, interacting with people rather than it just being me talking to my audience on a stream, instead having interactions, right? So having PPP on the show with me as my co-host, having us interact back and forth and talking about things that normally I would not address in my content. You know, we're talking about silly stuff like socks or what's in my fridge or my educational history. Or, you know, we have a segment that we literally call Grill Phil, where I'm on the hot seat and he hits me up basically with every question that idiotic detractors come up with, and I just answer it rationally, okay? And there's a lot of teasing and razzing and having fun with it, but I think that it's a good segment because it's something different that normally I don't do in my content, okay? I enjoy doing something different, all right? But we've tried this now for several different weeks, all right? Like, we've tried different ways of doing it or whatever. We've messed around with it. And basically what's ended up happening is, like, the whole first hour of the show is that segment, and then we do about 90 minutes of wrestling commentary. So the show ends up being about 2 to 3 hours long, okay? I definitely feel like it's been fun. Like, I like it, but it's not seeming to resonate with the audience. And what I mean by that is the audience that we're getting for Smark Guys is a combination of my core audience from my content, some of the casino audience, and I get the feeling there's a few wrestling fans tossed in there that maybe here or there have gotten wind of the show and want to check it out. So if you're a fan of mine, or if you're a wrestling fan, the whole first hour of the show probably doesn't appeal to you at all right? So what's happening is that basically a lot of people are starting to get turned off to the first hour of the show. They're saying, you know, it was fun the first time, but you're doing it every week. And we're waiting for the wrestling commentary. And it seems like we have to play this waiting game to get through it. And it's very frustrating. Okay. So basically, you know, we've tried different things. And here's the thing, you know, you want to try new stuff, right? You do. You want to attempt to do things differently. You want to try new stuff and see what works. I just don't think the segment is working. And it's not just me, it's both of us. Like, after having done this now for over a month, I think we both agree that the segment is not working. It's not bringing new eyes to the show. It's not bringing in any extra revenue, that's for sure. You know, it would have been one thing if, for example, a couple weeks ago, when I first had this other angle of camera, okay? And what we were saying was, hey, could we actually see Phil do push-ups? Because one of the stupid memes about me from years ago is that someone challenged me to do push-ups and I jumped off camera and claimed that I did them. Now, obviously I didn't. Obviously I was fucking around, right? But that was the meme, is that, oh, will we ever see Phil actually do push-ups? So it's like, okay, well, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do the segment, right? Let's show that with this new setup, we can now do push-ups, right? So I set it up. I did one half push-up. It wasn't even a real push-up, all right? It was just kind of a fake one. And then we said, all right, so if you guys support the show and we hit our goals tonight, Phil will do 20 push-ups or however many he can do, right? And guess what? We didn't hit our goal. Okay? Every week we do something silly like that where it's like, hey, this seems to be things that people have asked for or wanted for years. People want Phil in an environment where he's going to do things that he normally wouldn't do. So let's do it. And then if people support the show, then we'll give them these rewards that they claim to have wanted for so long. Okay? That's the whole idea of the segment. And guess what's happened? Absolutely nothing positive whatsoever. We've gained no additional viewers. We've gotten no extra support. In fact, I would argue that when we start the segment, a lot of people get turned off and are like, wow, this really sucks. We'd rather just have the wrestling commentary, okay? Which is unfortunate, because here's what that tells you, all right? All these idiots on the internet are hypocrites. They were never legit to begin with. They don't actually want to see me do things outside the box. They just want to make fun of me so they can grift. Okay? It's that simple. These idiots who claim to be critics are not critics. They are people who literally will just say negative things because they have conditioned an audience to like hearing negative things about Darkside Phil. So if I do the things that they've always claimed I wouldn't do, no one cares because that wasn't the point. The point is just to rag on me so they can monetize and make money because they are greedy, disingenuous fuckwads who actually prey upon and condition and groom an actual audience of mentally challenged people. That's the truth. If you go to one of these streams or if you go to one of their shows, you will not see an audience of intelligent, well-functioned mental people. You will see idiots, mouth droolers, mouth breathers, very slow people. That's who watch that kind of content on a regular basis. And they've been conditioned to like it. Get it? So now all these years, oh, we wanted this. Okay, we're going to give it to you. Oh, well, we don't want that. What do you mean? You're going to get what you've asked for years. We don't want that. Well, that's because you never wanted it. It's because you're just dumb. And you have people who literally prey upon you and suck on you for revenue every day, and you're too dumb to realize it. You are the victims. Anyone who watches that content is literally a victim. You've been mind controlled. You've been messed with, okay? So, now looking at this, okay, and seeing firsthand what's happened in this last 5 episodes that we have attempted to do this stuff and it hasn't worked, we are done with it. Okay? So moving forward on Smark, guys, the show will open up. We will have some banter at the beginning, some back and forth, talking about how we're doing and stuff like that. But we're going to only do that for a few minutes and we're going to get into wrestling pretty quickly. We'll do the commentary on whatever wrestling we watched for the week. And once that commentary is done, depending on how much time is left on the show, we will probably stick around and do a little bit of funny stuff and go back and forth. But for the most part, it's going to be focused on wrestling moving forward, okay? We're excited because this is WrestleMania season. You know, you got the build up to the Elimination Chamber, and then you're going to have WrestleMania itself. There's going to be a lot going on in pro wrestling to talk about. And just because we tried to do something different and it failed doesn't mean that we're going to give up on the show, all right? We really enjoy doing the show, but obviously catering to these people is not working, all right? So we're changing the format starting next week on Tuesday. There will be no more insanely lengthy grill fill segments. Instead, it's going to be a little bit of kind of, you know, banter back and forth and then getting to the commentary on wrestling. And then basically moving on and seeing how much time we have left after the fact and going from there. Okay? So the reason I'm